Hello and welcome to a different type of video than you're used to from me. Normally I explain games, but with Monopoly I think that's hardly necessary. But you may be playing this game thinking you're doing it perfectly according to the rules, but are you? In board gaming there are two things: house rules and playing the game incorrectly by accident. House rules is when you know exactly how a game is supposed to be played, but you made one or more adjustments to make it easier or more fair. For example, and I'll use another world-famous tabletop for this, I own a copy of Trivial Pursuit. The only problem when I bought it is that I thought it was a printing with questions in Dutch, because I live in the Netherlands. But it turned out to be English. No problem, I can read and listen and speak in English. Only now and then a question can be overly British about something from recent pop culture or local politics. In that case we have a house rule. If the question is too British, you can ask for another one. That is what a house rule is. We know it's not allowed, but we're doing it anyway. The other thing was playing the game incorrectly by accident. And this is where we steer back to Monopoly. Something like this comes to be when you've been taught this game by someone who thinks this is how you're supposed to play it, so you don't really question that person. And when it turns out a whole bunch of people all over the world played exactly the same way as you do, well, then you are never going to pull open that rulebook to double check yourself. But some people do, and in the case of Monopoly it can cause some OMG moments. So we're going to have a closer look. 1. Let's start with the easy one. This space, free parking, or whatever it's called in your own language. When you land on this space, do you do anything? Maybe grab some money from the middle of the board? Well, then you're playing it wrong. Free parking is the only space on the board where absolutely nothing happens. That's why it's called free parking. You don't have to pay, you don't get money or a card or a new roll with the dice. When you land here, you do nothing. 2. Coming back to that money in the middle of the board. I did that because I was taught by my family as a child. Whenever you pick up one of these cards and it says you have to pay, you put your money here. And whoever lands on free parking can take it. No, all the money from cards go into the bank. You should never put money in the middle of the board. 3. You can't buy streets in your first round. Maybe this is unfamiliar to you, but trust me, some people do it. You first have to make a full round and then you can start buying up those properties. Utter nonsense. From the start of the game you can spend your cash straight away. Plenty of people look at Monopoly and think, alright, we'll be here for at least 3 hours then. Mistakes like this is why the game can take much longer than it needs to. So first round you can buy stuff. 4. Speaking of buying, here's another one that you might be doing. You can't start building houses until every single card has been sold. All the streets, all the stations, and all the utilities. Talk about stretching the game. No, it's not true. As soon as you have a complete set, you can start building houses. If you're the only one with a complete set, that's what they call a monopoly, hence the name of the game. You're here to make money and be ruthless. 5. Just don't get greedy. When you land exactly on the go space, you are free to demand more money, probably double money. But just because you demand it, doesn't mean you should get it. Landing on go does not get you a cent more than the usual payment. In the standard English version, that's 200. 6. When someone lands on a property that's for sale and that person doesn't want to buy it, just wait for the next person to land on it. No, no, no. When someone doesn't immediately buy an available property, it goes up for auction straight away, going in player order except the player that turned it down. Offer a bid, 10 money, 15 money, 30 money, and so on. Whoever bids the most gets the property. You could get a street for much cheaper than it normally costs. Auctioning, remember it. Uh-oh, there's no more houses. Well, we'll just pay anyway and pretend I have some extra ones on my street. I'm sorry, but that's not allowed. When you buy this game, it comes with a certain number of houses and hotels. As soon as the supply runs out, you'll just have to wait until they're available again. So no houses to put on the board means you can't buy houses. There are some people who have what they call hacked Monopoly. By that they mean they have found a way to always win. And that is, in this case, to buy up all the houses. That way the other players can't buy houses and upgrade those to hotels. Is that true? Yes, it is. Do you really want to win like that? That's up to you. Personally, I think that could possibly ruin the fun for the other players and taking it a bit too serious. I play to win, but never at the cost of sucking the fun out of it. You know what doesn't run out? Money. If ever you play Monopoly for so long that the bank runs out of money, you just write something on paper, whatever you come up with. There's a funny story on how this was added to the rules long ago. Look it up if you feel like it. 8. When you land in jail, you're not getting any money. Oh, that is a lie. If you're in jail and someone lands on your property, make 'em pay. As soon as I've got some properties with houses on them, I love being in jail. You're safe from walking on the board and landing on other people's property, but you're still getting your money when someone lands on yours. In jail, you always get money from other players. 9. Another jail point. What do you do to get out? I used to roll 3 times in a row. If I got double, I got out. If not, I pay the fee, roll again, and get out. And then I read the rule book. You just got put in jail. First, you wait until it's your turn again. When that comes, make a choice. Pay the fee and roll the dice to get out. Or roll the dice once. If you get double digits, you're out. And you don't roll again, you just walk as many spaces as you just rolled. If you didn't, you have to stay where you are and wait until it's your turn again. And then do the same. Either choose to pay the fee and roll to get out, or try to do a double roll again. If not, you wait until it's your turn again, and then you get a third and final chance to either get out and pay or roll double. If you didn't roll double again, you have to pay and you must get out of jail. So it could take you up to 3 turns. 10. When you land on community chest, you have to take a card. But when you land on chance, it's up to you whether you want to take it or not. No. If you land on chance, you have to take a card. You have no choice in the matter. 11. When you can't pay anymore, you're out of the game. Well, that's true. And then you have to give all your property to the bank. No, you don't. You owe someone money. You must put everything on mortgage, flip your property cards over and get whatever it says on the back. And then, if you still can't pay the full amount, you have to hand over all your properties to that player. The bank gets nothing. So what do you do then? The player that just got your property first has to pay 10% of everything on the mortgage. So if it's 100 on mortgage, that player has to pay 10 money to the bank. Okay, so the bank does get something out of it. It's almost like real life. Anyway, first pay 10% on everything. Not the normal price, but the mortgage price. Then that player can decide to pay the normal mortgage price of everything he or she wants to flip over, back to normal. That can be used again then, and everything that's not flipped over stays where it is. The moment you do want to flip it over in a later turn, you have to pay the 10% again, plus the mortgage price. 12. These next ones even I have never heard of, but some people actually play it like this. Let's set the full record straight. When you roll 2 ones, so a 1 and a 1, you have to pay money to the bank as a punishment. No! And why? This sounds like something a big brother made up when you were little just because he was messing with you. You never have to pay anything for the bank as a punishment for a certain number. 13. If you land exactly on go, you can choose if you want your normal 200 money, or you can go anywhere you want on the board. Never heard of it, but I can imagine this rule being made up somewhere and then spreading like a virus. No, there is no teleportation by choice in Monopoly. 14. When 3 players land on 3 different spaces but their related properties, those players get money from the bank because it's such an amazing coincidence. Like one player lands here, the next player lands here, and the third player lands here. That is quite impressive, but still it gets you nothing from the bank. 15. You can already start building houses even if you don't own the complete set. How dare you? No, you may certainly not. You have to have a complete set, and then you can start building houses. The end. 16. Not only have I never heard of this, this is the one I wish I did when I was a child. At the start of the game, you put half of the money from the bank in the middle of the board, and then everyone grabs what they can. It sounds like a Japanese game show. If there's one made-up rule that I can see caused a war between siblings, it'll be this one. No, please don't do that. Everyone gets exactly the same money from the bank at the start of the game, and not a dime extra. There's a word for grabbing money from the bank. It's called robbery. And that's my list. That's all the made-up rules I know from experience and what I could find on the internet. I'm not saying Monopoly is a short game, but it doesn't need to be as long as you might make it. And it's definitely not a fair game, but it doesn't have as many crazy rules as you might thought. Still, even though I'm not out to pick a fight with the publisher of Monopoly, but do know that there is a massive world of board games out there. No, they're not all super complicated Dungeons and Dragons monster fighting things. Some are way shorter than Monopoly, just as easy or easier even. And plenty without dragons in them. Nothing against dragons, of course. Also, one important element that most games have nowadays: when you're the first to lose in Monopoly, you're just sitting there waiting for everyone else to finish the game. Or you just go home and you'll hear who won in the morning. Modern games have a way of playing where everyone is included until the end of the game. So, if you don't have a full-blown hatred against board games, my advice is to visit your local board game shop and ask someone there to help you out. I promise you, you won't regret it. If you've learned anything new from this video, or you have a made-up rule I didn't mention in my list, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching, and see you for the next one. I'll make it a long and complicated one, maybe with dragons.